we've made it clear all the way along that we're willing to serve the country, willing to form a government. It would be a minority government. And the way that would operate is that we'd bring forward a Queen's speech and a budget as well, lay it before Parliament. I think we'd ensure that the policies that we put forward were based upon those policies that we set out in our manifesto, which proved to be extremely popular, and then we'd invite MPs to vote for it.
What about, aside from the austerity measures which you've been against, and that was all laid out, as you said in your manifesto, what about Brexit? Because that is just around the corner. If Jeremy Corbyn is to go to Brussels and to fight on behalf of Britain, what kind of Brexit would you be looking for?
Well, it's interesting. I think there's sufficient interest in Parliament to ensure that we don't go for a hard Brexit. I think there's common interest in trying to secure access to the single market, tariff-free. But I think also there's a recognition that we have to change the tone of the whole negotiations. And this is the point that Keir Starmer and Jeremy Corbyn have been making throughout this campaign. And that means it's a different style of negotiations. I had an office in Brussels for a period of time when, in my previous life as a chief executive of the Local Government Association, and I don't think Theresa May or the Conservatives appreciated that actually the style of negotiations there is one in which you look at for mutual interest and you have mutual respect. Banging the table and stomping around doesn't work whatsoever. Yeah,
but one of the problems you have with that is that you have quite a tight time frame.
Yeah,
We're already less than 2 years before we have to have some kind of deal agreed. Theresa May's argument all along has been, like, give me a strong mandate and I will have a strong hand going forward to really fight for Britain. If Jeremy Corbyn's style is much more of a negotiating consensus leader, does that mean that we could get to the end of this 2-year process with no deal whatsoever?
No, but no deal would be a bad deal, and that was the problem that with Theresa May's position. The whole point of in the campaign, if you like, during this general election is no one really got clarity from Theresa May about what her objectives were. Ours are straightforward. Protection of the economy, protection of jobs, access to the single market, tariff-free. And the mutual interest point that I was making is that other European colleagues as well clearly want access to our market. There's a deal to be done here, but the nature and the tone of those negotiations, I think, will set the timetable which will be productive rather than one that's destructive that you put forward.
The Conservatives are going to be the largest party at the moment, so it's the onus is on them to try to form a government. If it falls then to Labour to try and form a government, the SNP, Nicola Sturgeon, has already sort of hinted towards a possible progressive alliance. Is that something you would work towards?
Let's be absolutely clear. We're not into any deals.
No deals whatsoever?
No deals whatsoever. No coalitions whatsoever either. We'll form a minority government, put our proposal forward, and if other parties want to vote for those proposals, that's fine, that's up to them. But we want to ensure that we form a government that has a clear direction, and that's what we'll give it.
But that would be stalemate, wouldn't it? If you form a minority government and you just hope that people support you on your key manifesto pledges, that means nothing gets done.
No, I think we'll be able to put forward the policies that will secure majority support within Parliament itself, because our policies in the manifesto prove to be so popular with the British people. At the moment, what we have is, the Tories may well seek to try and form a coalition with the DUP. That I think that would be a real, pardon the expression, coalition of chaos that they accuse us of having. In addition to that, within the Conservative Party now, they're beginning to rip themselves apart. There's a number of Tory MPs already quietly now saying Theresa May's position is untenable, she's got to go. I think we're going to go through a period in which there's a bruising splits with the Tory party. They'll be incapable of forming a government.
Instead of